The Economic Times CFO Summit 2016, held recently in the city of Bangalore, sought to highlight the evolving role of the modern-day CFO in a rapidly changing global financial environment. India's leading CFOs converged to share their experiences in a discussion themed "The Next Level of Financial Management, Creating Opportunities Out of Challenges."
How have you addressed some of those? Maybe which are those changes which are very compelling for you?
We are in the retail business, and therefore the amount of inventory that we have in our stores is very, very significant. And when you're dealing with something like gold and jewelry, you need to be very careful. So one of the things that we did in terms of reorganization was forming a separate vertical under the corporate finance function, which would oversee the inventory control and stores operating control across entire network. We have about 1,200 stores. Of the 1,200 stores, about 250 to 300 stores are company stores, which means the inventory is ours. So on top of that, there are other formats that we have, franchisees whose inventory also is actually ours. While they are running the show, the inventory is ours. So the control on inventory becomes a very, very critical aspect. So what we did is we formed a group separately, a vertical in the corporate finance function, with its arms across each of the 4 regions. And this group, and we formed certain metrics in terms of, a tally sheet or so, a very detailed scorecard for every store in terms of points. And we started tracking them over a period of time. And I think what that has done is to bring our level of compliance at the stores phenomenally high. And I think that's really helped us in terms of now, when it comes back to IFC now, it's a major, major advantage that we put this in place well before IFC came in.
In NIIT, similar challenges, new set of challenges?
What I will just mention, some of the changes that we did about a year and a half back was to create a global shared services organization. Okay. So previously, the way NIIT was spread out in terms of all the regional offices, very strong regional offices, and with the corporate learning group, really going into new countries, new boundaries, and the whole finance function getting the complexities increasing with the compliance and so on, and also just to keep the costs at a very reasonable, optimal level. We created a global shared services organization for global taxation and for our accounts payable and accounts receivable. That has really helped, I think, both from the point of view of one, the standardization, secondly, the whole SLA, meeting the SLAs to our clients and to our internal customers, and also ensuring that, whatever compliance requirements are there, I mean, as far as I'm concerned as the CFO of the company, I get a dashboard, a very regular dashboard in terms of the overall global compliances being taken care of. Mm-hmm. So the formation of GSSC, as we call it, has been one of the step-breaking functions in finance and NIIT. We continue to look at new regulatory changes as they come, and we are also investing a lot in compliance specifically because the compliance requirements have really increased. See, we had to expand, and the finance function has to go along with the business. Our corporate learning group, like I said, is having global footprints. The one way was to, kind of just go ahead and create finance organizations in various countries, in various regions. That would, be quite, that would not be cost effective. We wanted to create an organization which is far more controlled. We could have a standardized set of practices which we could, take care of and use technology to its fullest. And so it helps us in SL achievement, and it brings down the cost and increases the efficiencies.
Right. Any other views? Why is the shared services center good?
Yeah, I will say that global shared service nowadays it will only work if we are going towards a digital finance, because then your shared service can be any part of the globe and you can be very much connected with that shared service. And secondly, the concept is coming that why don't we divide the finance into 2 parts, back end and the front end? Because back end is a big data system, big shared service who's working and all, and the front end works like a business partner to the divisions or to the business unit and all, and also they are driving the thing as a ally to the business, and also providing the quick result and the looking forward as a strategist partner also. So I think so that is why the global shared service is taking a shape, but thanks to the digital world, and this is going to take a further 2 steps further, and I will say that it is just going to be the future.
Moving on to the technology, Ravindra, I think what are the top 3 or 4 areas you believe in your experience are very important for finance organizations to consider?
Now, globally, companies have used a big disruptive technology to completely transform the way they address the finance function, or completely change the way they address the compliance issue or achieve objective. Now, in India, it's very interesting. In our personal lives, when we go and we say, okay, I go to my bank and do all my transactions on my mobile. I buy things on mobile with 3 clicks, etc. We do all that thing. India has matured in the last 1 year with 40 crore people subscribing to internet, second largest one. But what happens, very intriguingly, when we go inside the corporate, most of the processes in finance functions and our way to achieve those objectives are still reasonably traditional or with some technology backbone. The biggest challenge we have seen globally is how an organization interacts with entities outside, for example, suppliers or a customer. Those are the transactions which leave your organization. Within the organization, you have done a wonderful job, and that's where the biggest compliance risk or the cost inefficiencies or all issues emerge. And that has been a big focus of global CFOs for quite some time with technology. So, and there are many examples. I just wanted to illustrate that we need to start looking those technologies and adopting those for a step change and proactive compliance.
Lastly, around the talent, so many changes, retaining, attracting. Okay, first things first, are you able to attract talent? And again, from an institute perspective, Madhukar, is there something that's being done to maintain relevance of chartered accountants when there is so much beyond accounting that accountants today are doing?
I think the Chartered Accounting Institute is very much aware that business advisory functions, specialized functions, even accounting itself could be areas where there is much more focus than the traditional attest function or the tax advice function. In fact, there is a proposal which is lying with the Ministry of Companies Affairs where the entire syllabus has gone through an overall, and we have taken inputs from industry leaders and chartered accountants to look at what should be the syllabus itself. And there have been many aspects which have come up and identified as missing in the chartered accountants coming out. Normally there was a feeling that the quality of the chartered accountant coming out of the system is not as good as it was a decade back, and many people were doing it. So there is some correction happening, and we are awaiting that to come back. And it does have a few things back, like for example, many of us, I'm sure Subbu and all remembers, we used to have a Sunday test which ensured that students don't study only in the last month. Yeah. We have, for example, English added at the CPT level, because we find chartered accountants have a lot of knowledge but are unable to communicate. Yeah. Then we have maths, which I think data analytics and all what we are thinking of certainly requires those skills. So there has been a paradigm shift, and the chartered accountants who are here in this audience, who are in key places, I would request them to have a look at the syllabus.
With that, I'll thank each one of my panelists. Thank you very much for your time.